be surprised if ours is that restricted, based on what everybody said before. Hey, Graham.
Didn't bring the case?
Hey, Greg.
Well, how y'all doing? Hard to complain.
Turner, the B&B not on our agenda. STR?
That's short-term. Short-term rental.
All right.
Short-term rental.
Excuse
That's what
me.
STR
Excuse
means.
my
Yeah.
ignorance.
They use the right abbreviation.
A lot of stuff to look at.
Yeah. Economic development stuff that's going from very. I wanted to do that because I figure there's going to be some people from the public that show up at 5 o'clock. So I think we're going to get through executive session. One of those people group. So they don't think we're trying to have an early discussion. We put a public notice at 4:30, but those people don't. Hey, Mayor, how are you?
Yes, Mayor.
Those people don't get those notices. They really are. You know, I've noticed that one.
People pay big bucks for those chairs. Well, we need to have big auctions. These $500 a chair, maybe.
They're all put together though, so you're.
Okay.
Somebody who's good will take just the seat and build a new base for it. Yeah. Yeah, you saw those on the old days.
Years ago.
Yeah. They sit out in the sun long enough to turn brittle is all good. You know, but I know we make fun of them. They're obviously well built and they're comfortable.
I have to say the seat that I'm sitting in is not the seat I'm sitting in does not fit that qualification.
Oh, this thing's probably 30 years newer than that. I'm not sure if these are even more than 10 years old. It's like appliances, of course, you know, all the y'all's fixtures and everything. Especially residential grade fixtures and stuff like that.
We got no total spot refrigerator downstairs. When we got rid of the house, it was still running. It was still 30 years old.
Got 1 minute. I got 4:30. All right, I've got 4:30. We will call this work session of the Enterprise City Council to order. Let the record show that currently Miss Rich is absent, but she is planning on being here. So she's walking in. Okay. We do have a tight agenda tonight, just so everybody is aware. We're going to discuss council agenda for tonight first. Then we're gonna have a brief, right, Jonathan, brief executive session for economic development. Then we're gonna come back and we're gonna try to hammer out this short-term rental discussion. My goal would be to hammer that out before the regular meeting. If not, then we will recess and reconvene after the meeting to hammer that out tonight. So if you will join me in looking at the council agenda for tonight. Of course, we've got the regular housekeeping things of approval of the agenda, the consent agenda. The only thing on here was a little peculiar was this accounts payable A3. I discussed that with Beverly before. What that is some holdovers from last fiscal year that she got in late. Is that accurate, Beverly? So you saw those in your packet. Any questions about the consent agenda? All right, then we'll move on. Then we're gonna have some police department promotions. Chief, anything we need to know about that? I mean, I just turn the floor over to you. You've got it. All right. Then we'll have privilege of floor and staff reports, and we do have some planning, some rezones, some planning commission stuff, some rezones that some hearings are scheduled for tonight. One for Snyder. Well, that's it, just for Snyder. Stacy, no issues with that? Are we expecting anybody to come? Okay. Then we've got a bid recommendation from Billy. Is Billy in here? We've got a bid recommendation from you tonight. Can you, sorry. So this is Harris Security, $119,726. There was a detailed breakdown in our packet. Anything that we need to know about?
Well, it's 19,000 more than what we budgeted. But what's my understanding is that we are limited on supplies, and what we're able to get is more than what we had projected to what we had bid on. So this is definitely a much better piece of equipment, or equipments, projectors and all that we were needing to, that we were asking for. But it's something that it's going to be great for the, this is something that we need. Okay. The system that was in there originally, is my understanding, is outdated. It's not functional the way we want it to be.
It's about 13, 14 years old.
Yes, sir. It was put in 2009.
So
One projector's not working. We would have to, we couldn't get it fixed. We would have to buy a whole new projector, and the timing is for us to come in and replace all this. The timing of the equipment is that we are needing, or for this, is that this is what we can get for us, and I think we'll be very happy talking to over with Stacy, talking with Jeremy, talking with the bidder, that we will be very, very pleased with this projectors. Also with additionals, pulling new updated cables, everything is going to update it to where the standards where we are today, and it's supposed to be something that we can have for 20 years down the road. So this is not something that we'll be looking at 10 years down the road, or 5 years, or 13 years, but 20 years down the road.
Any thoughts on why we only have one bidder?
No, sir.
It's not.
No, sir. I mean, I know that it was sent out to at least 3, 4, 7. And then maybe it's because of supply and demands, or maybe I just don't know. I have no understanding why we only received one back. But the one we did receive is the one that helped us, told us, what we need.
And Jeremy reviewed this.
And Jeremy reviewed this. Yes, we worked through Jeremy Nagy on this, and he's done a fantastic job of making sure we are getting what we need and understand exactly what we need for this. So,
And I know, and Jonathan, maybe you need to be involved in this conversation, but there's some discussion over the possibility of the potential of moving council chambers out there. Nothing we're doing here would interfere, like we wouldn't be double spending or anything with if we chose to go down that road.
So under the plans that we're evaluating right now for if we were to renovate City Hall, we would look at making this entirely a courtroom and only really for court or additional meeting space or something if there were, a gathering of, a particular department or a planning commission meeting or something. This could still be flexed into that because it'd be modular in nature. In other words, these chairs would have a space to go. We'd be able to collapse them, put them in a closet, or rearrange them into a different format.
Right.
Alternately, we're also evaluating the possibility of utilizing the Civic Center for council chambers. So at some point, you will have to make a decision. Do you want to hold council meetings at the Civic Center or here? What we basically did was we went under the assumption that if we were to do them at the Civic Center, let's present an option to the council that would address the audio-visual needs there. That they would be, addressed because I know that some of you, maybe all of you, had some issues with, the acoustics and how things were done. We need to fix that anyway. So
right.
They're not mutually exclusive. Whether or not you decide to have the council meetings or not, we do need to fix the audio-visual equipment at the Civic Center.
I guess what I'm getting at, I don't want to, if we make that decision in 3 weeks, 3 months, 6 months, whatever, to do that, I don't want to go back to this decision and say, wow, if we'd known we were doing that, we would have approached this particular issue differently. That's not an issue, is it?
It's not. There will be some additional cost potentially
right.
If we do make that the council chambers that will further, like for instance, how do we replicate where you're sitting now at the Civic Center? And I do have a plan for that is obviously not bid out, but it's a potential
right.
idea on how to address that. It's just one solution. Could be others, but no, this needs to be done regardless of if you.
Okay. That was my main. I knew you and I had briefly talked with. I doubt you've talked with everybody about that yet.
Well, we not about. I've got that to show you at some point. In fact, if you want to see.
No, I mean
okay.
We've got a full meeting tonight. So.
But no, I basically when you all came out and sat and listened to the acoustics and what would be done and got that feedback loop or whatever it was called addressed. Jeremy's not here to correct my technological language.
Right.
But anyway, we do have a plan for that, and this needs to be done whether or not you have council chambers
okay.
there.
That was my main.
Yeah.
Let's just say if we go down that route and it changes what we're going to do, then we might as well hold off on this. But okay.
It won't.
So you might have any questions of Billy or Jonathan on this particular agenda? Okay. Thank you, Billy. And we will in the near future, Jonathan, discuss that maybe next council meeting.
Sure. And the biggest thing on that is I think Billy was correct when he said there's chip shortage and just some things we had to punt into this FY, but it's been needed for a couple of years now, and it's worse.
All right. So moving on, the first item on new business is to amend the business license code. This is my understanding. We're making an amendment to Schedule E in the business license code. I mean, it's just cleaning some stuff up, right, Jonathan? Or do we need Rainer to speak more?
I think the biggest thing that we're adding are some ACE codes that were overlooked in the initial. Leanne, are there other things? There maybe some language, but
we're just adding those 4 ACE codes to Section E. Yeah, so that's so it's fishing and hunting and trapping, agricultural support, cotton gins, mining and quarrying, pressure washing and sandblasting, we're all moving to E, which is the proper place for those to be. Okay. Okay. So the simplest explanation is we're fixing a typo here. Okay. Does anybody have any questions about that? Any concerns with addressing this tonight? So any issues with suspending the rules tonight to address this typo? Okay. All right, then we're going to authorize the mayor to execute a memorandum of agreement with the Pike Regional Child Advocacy and Family Resource Center. So this is just a lease, 1 year. Is this for the building out at the? Yep.
Due to it is a city space,
Okay.
but due to the confidential nature of what goes on there, we'd rather not disclose
Okay.
the precise location.
Gotcha. So, all right. Any general questions then?
Executive session. We can't.
Okay.
But you're all familiar with it.
Right.
And you've been reading.
Okay. All right. My apologies, Ryan.
Sorry, Mr. President, I was told that you were going to be informed and you were not, so.
Well, I might have been. I'll take the. So request permission to replace the HVAC unit. This is Billy on the Enterprise Public Library.
Yes, sir. This is a 2.5 ton unit and it needs to be replaced at the library. It's not be able to repair it. It does, it's a functional of some key areas in the library for climate control, and it's a needed item. And of course, we were not prepared, did not know that this system was going to go down like it did. And so we did. We did get 3 different quotes on this, and of course, Comfort System USA had the better price for us for this and everything. So, so it is a needed item, but the only thing is it's unfunded.
Any questions of Billy on this? Seems like every year we've got a few unexpected HVAC issues, but all right.
Okay.
Thank you, Billy. Then we'll move into mayor's report and council member comments. Are there any items that need to be added to the agenda that anybody's aware of? So is everybody comfortable with the agenda as submitted? All right, well then we will move on to the next item in our work session agenda, which is we've got a request from Mr. Tolos, Mr. Mott, requesting an executive session regarding economic development. Any other issues? Okay, economic development, good name and character. They've asked for 30 minutes. Is that about what we think this will take? Hopefully a little less. And we will be discussing, obviously we'll come back in and we will be discussing at length our short-term rental after we come back, and then we'll roll into our regular meeting. So I will entertain a motion to go into executive session.
So moved.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second, and this is regarding economic development and good name and character. Is there any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. We'll be right back.
The vagueness that Beverly put down in there is acceptable to me.
Yeah, I know.
All right, if we could get everybody's attention, we're going to carry on with our work session agenda, which we've got the rest of the time, about 40 minutes dedicated to short-term rental discussion. Our plan this afternoon and tonight is to finalize, to the extent possible, to finalize our short-term rental discussion, otherwise known as Airbnb or VRBO discussion. My understanding is the way this will look is we're going to come to terms this afternoon on what we can hopefully build consensus on. If not consensus, then at least a majority on something that we can get behind. We will pass that document on to the Planning Commission. Planning Commission will adopt it if they so choose. If they adopt it, then it will come back to us for final passage. So, Rayner, Jonathan, Stacy, is that accurate? Okay. So we will just cut to the chase. We've been talking about this for at least 3 meetings now, I think. So best I can tell, we've come up with 3 options that you should all have copies of. For lack of a better word, words or labels, we will call one of them the conditional option, one of them the non-conditional option, and the third one is a non-conditional option that Greg worked with Rayner to produce. So we'll call that one the Greg option or the Paget option, just for simplicity. So I guess I think the most efficient way to go about this would be, we know where Greg is on conditional and non-conditional. Sonia, you had some reservations about it last time, but let's just revisit. If the conditional option does not have support, then there's no point in even discussing it tonight. So Scotty, where are you at on the conditional option?
Well, I like the 2 that we've been presented, the Greg option and then the other one that Rayner said, not the conditional one.
Not the conditional one.
Right.
Okay. Greg, you do not want to consider the conditional one. Eugene, where are you at on the conditional?
I do not want to consider the conditional option.
Okay. Sonia? Okay, so there's no point in even discussing the conditional option tonight. So the discussion is between the 2 non-conditionals. I went through, laid them side by side. Greg, you correct me if I'm wrong. The major fundamental differences in these are the original non-conditional option calls for 3 vehicles max. You scratched that and just said that that they would have to be parked off the street if parking is available. So is that accurate?
That is accurate. And I'm not completely 100% opposed to that. I think about certain events that people would rent a short-term rental for. Let's just say once the veterans home is built here, say maybe a family rents a short-term rental for out-of-town family to come in and stay. They're within the capacity limits of that home, but yet they want to go get grandpa out of the veterans home, bring him for Thanksgiving dinner, and some of their other family lives across the street or down, across town, and they drive over and have a family Thanksgiving dinner together, and then they all part ways and go. That's my main concern right there, is that it's not a party. It's not, violating any ordinances that we have, but there would be a moment of time that maybe last a few hours that there would be additional cars out there, and just trying to avoid, the police getting called out because someone's trying to have Thanksgiving dinner with grandpa that they went and checked out of the veterans home.
Okay.
That's my, so if we can figure out a way to make some limitations there that yet still allows for those type of family events. You also have military families that come in and rent these short-term rentals because of graduations that might want to get together for a family dinner, and their soldier drives up to Fort Rucker on his.
So I've got a question about that. and this is for Rainer. The first paragraph specifically says excluded are rentals between parties. Skipping down, individuals associated with armed services of the United States related to temporary duty at Fort Rucker. So I guess in Greg's scenario, would that or would that not apply? Okay. To a graduation. Okay, so that would be a traditional TDY. Okay, so all right, sorry. Go ahead, Greg.
And so what about, like my scenario of checking someone out of a veterans home? I mean,
the ordinance would still apply. So really, the exclusion is for TDY, a temporary assignment to Fort Rucker, an active duty military.
Because we had those so often temporary duties at Fort Rucker, we didn't want to be an impediment to anything related to Fort Rucker.
Yeah.
This ordinance.
Yeah. So okay. So everybody understands the difference in the Greg and the regular conditional on parking. Now tell us about the guests per bedroom. The original non-conditional says only 2 guests per bedroom, not to include children under the age of 19, shall be allowed. You've simply removed that language, right?
And that could go back in if needed, specifically because it does say under the age of 19, because I think that will take care of most families that would rent and put kids in. The one thought that I had is sometimes my family rents vacation homes in the mountains, and some of us will, got siblings, and older siblings, and say you got unmarried 21, 22-year-old, 23-year-old brothers, that there's 3 of them that go into one bedroom because the room is set up with a king size bed and a pull out sofa. I think we got all I'm trying to do is just make it easy to operate this without having to have a ton of red tape down at City Hall to make it happen. I think in general, most of the time, what was in there with the 2 per bedroom, except over the age of 19, is probably going to fit 99% of the rentals. I'm not going to fight about that. I just wanted to.
So I would say, I think one thing I think that would help, and I'm not passionate about it either, but is the advertising of a home. Some people, one of the concerns we hear is that they're advertising this home for 20 occupants.
Mm-hmm.
Well, if our ordinance restricted it, then it would restrict what they're able to market
Sure.
and advertise the property for. So just kind of counterpoint.
That I get that, and I agree that there's probably homes that are advertised for well over their capacity that they should be. I do also look at if it was a larger home with larger bedrooms, such as that I have personally rented, and I'm taking this from personal experience. Just a few weeks ago, when I was renting one out of town, 2 of the bedrooms had king size beds with pull out sofas that could sleep 2, and they listed 4 per room in that, which we didn't do, but
Right.
That's the way that house was listed. And that's I tend to always err on the side of allowing the owner of the property to have as free use of their property as they possibly can, which is why that I tend to scratch out as many restrictions as possible. But I can also compromise on some too.
So is your understanding of those are the 2 main differences? Let's see. Oh, the other one was license fee. So the original language provided for license fee per short-term rental property, and this is something we debated last time that you weren't here. But the updated your language says a license fee of $50 shall be due annually per owner. There was some. Stacy, will you clarify?
We're still doing some research right now because, like Leanne had mentioned, in order for us to collect taxes, each property is going to have an account set up. So we're still doing some research as to the per owner or per property. If we find that it has to be per property in order to get each individual account set
Yeah, but isn't
up,
that merely an administrative thing that doesn't necessarily have to be addressed by
and that was versus the conditional use. Because remember, I told y'all it's almost kind of like asking double, you know.
So I guess my point is, which we hadn't really deliberated, so I don't know where we're going to land on this, but say we landed on only $50 per, and you said, well, we can't track the properties. Couldn't you simply issue them just administratively another license at no cost? You see what I'm saying? I mean, you're just talking about how to administer the ordinance. We're talking about how much to charge for, which I think is a policy level decision. Y'all just, are you understanding what? Which, can you come to the microphone? I'm sorry.
I would say possibly yes, because we do issue, there are certain types of licenses that are issued for no fee, certain categories. There would still be, however, a business license issuance fee. So there's a $12 fee every time we send out a business license. Even a no fee business license, they're required to pay the $12 issuance fee. So it could be possible that we could maybe set something up in the system like that.
So $50 for the first and $12 for each.
And then it would be $12 for every.
And that would be consistent with what we're already doing.
Correct.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
And I think that's what we talked about as far as, because when we talked about a conditional use, it's kind of, they're paying 2 fees, so why do they need conditional use if they're going to issue a business license? So I think. Yeah.
So, Greg, what are your thoughts on that, since you were the one that proposed this?
I guess my thought on that is, what if a homeowner set up a management company and they had 10 Airbnbs under their management company? Would they be treated then like a standard rental property management company in the city, like we have a lot for long-term rentals?
Would they not already be licensed?
Then would they get one license for the whole company?
Yeah, they're excluded from.
All I'm saying is if I'll just tell you from my perspective, if I were to do it, I have no Airbnbs, I have no short-term rentals, nothing. But if I were to start doing that, first thing I would do is set myself up a new LLC, create a management company, get one business license, and put everything under there, and say your business license ordinance allows me to do that, to skip having to pay $50 per or and license each property. That's where I'm headed with that.
I think most of the people that are doing this,
Come to the microphone, please.
I think most of the people that are doing this are realtors working under brokers already. So I think the likelihood of that happening is very. Could it? Yeah, it could. But
I just gave them that idea, I guess. But.
You did.
Well, well, I mean, it's no different than having a gas station company and opening two. I mean,
like Leanne's still going to have to set up if there's 25 short-term rentals that they have. Leanne is still going to have to set up a separate account for each property, so we get not only that 4%, but also that 2% back that we're going to get from the county. So it's accounted for in her system.
So it's all about the computer system.
It really is, and the taxes, and yeah.
Well, and our business license ordinance has
Right.
the issuance fee in it.
And originally we had talked about a $75 business license.
We even talked about 150 at one point.
But my thing was that if they were going to have to go to the Board of Adjustment for conditional use, well, that's a $25. So if you guys are going to have them do that, why are you going to charge them more? So it's up to y'all to establish what those fees.
Okay. So, I don't want to get hung up on whether it's going to be $50 or
I don't think it's a dollar
$50
thing for me.
as well.
It's just a simplification thing is all I'm really trying to do.
Regardless, they're going to have to come down and register that property.
I gave my opinion at the last council meeting. I gave the example, if I had 2 plumbing companies, one on one side of town, one on the other, I would have to buy a license for either. I think they should have to buy a license for each home.
And I'll tell you the reason that I am on the other side of that, not because of money. It's nothing to do with money. It's all because of the Alabama Court of Civil Appeals, to where in the Slaby versus Mountain River Estates Residential Association, they basically said that as long as the renters relax, eat, sleep, bathe, and engage in other incidental activities, that it is not a business. It's a residential type deal. And those type of things, you know, when it's a rental property in a management situation, I go back to any local property management company and enterprise. They buy one business license as per our city ordinance and manage all of their properties under that. Now, I'm not saying that's the way we have to do it. That's just
Right.
where I'm coming from on it.
Okay, well, and so for the sake of moving this on, so those are the three.
Yep.
Right. Those are the three main things. So, I mean, so let's just go around. Scotty, where are you at on the parking? What are your thoughts on parking? I'll attempt to build consensus here. So it looks like, you know, there's some dispute over whether we should limit parking to 3. I mean, of course, that number could be whatever number we come up with, but what are your thoughts on parking?
Don't we have something in the ordinance already on parking on the streets?
No, we decided there is nothing.
There is nothing? Not in front of residential? Okay, just size of vehicles, like RVs or semis or something, okay. Yeah.
Doesn't sound like you're passionate about it one way or the
No, I'm kind of, after hearing the discussion of both of them,
other.
really.
Eugene, what are your thoughts on?
I don't have a problem with leaving that out of the way that
Yeah.
Greg explained it in different situations. You know, there's times that you need to have more than 3 cars there.
Now, his version does clearly say parking on the street shall not be allowed if parking on the street is otherwise prohibited or if space is available in the driveways. In other words, if there's space available off-road, then you should. What are your thoughts?
I'm fine with that.
If you have a garage, if you have a driveway, if you have
I
ways to
think
get
I
off the
spoke
street.
on that the last time. I thought the 2-car was a little too strenuous, and
So if there's parking available off-street, park off-street, that's what this says, instead of limiting it to just an arbitrary number. Okay. I mean, I can go along with that also. So it sounds like we'll stick with that. So Scotty, where are you at on the, what was the second?
It's the 2 guests per
Yeah,
bedroom.
2 guests per bedroom. What are your thoughts on limiting?
I kind of like the way it's read there. Only 2 guests per bedroom, not to include children under the age, 19.
So only, yep.
Up to that. Kind of go along with it.
So we're gonna say no to that. So Eugene, or we know how Greg thinks. Eugene,
I really don't have a problem with it either way, but I'm okay with the 2 guests per bedroom as long as they have the statement in there about the kids under 19.
okay.
So we'd be fine leaving that in there as far as I'm concerned.
Sonia, what are your thoughts on that?
I'm content with that. I think it kind of, like Greg kind of said, it can kind of lend to that under 19. You could possibly end up having it that way, but keeping it that
Okay.
way it is.
Greg, can you live with that?
Absolutely.
Okay. All right.
And
So-
I'm assuming that at some point we're going to get feedback from the owners of these, that if that's a major issue, we can always come back and fix it.
Yeah, I mean, there would be a
Hopefully
process.
not.
Obviously, there's always a process for amending ordinances. We would have to send it back to planning, yeah. Okay. Yeah, and like I said earlier, I think it is a good idea just to put a number.
Well, and I completely see why that was put in there.
Yeah.
You could. Anyway.
I mean, hotels have these.
Exactly.
I don't think it's egregious. And then the license fee. Scotty, where are you at on the license fee?
Well, Greg brings up a good point on that. The process, though, that Stacy and Leanne talked about, my biggest thing has always been collecting the taxes for the city. And so if there's a way of doing that, and Greg said it with the computer, how do we do that? How do we make it so it's simpler for the folks that have those properties out there to, and then when you quoted the statute,
Well, it wasn't a statute.
or I mean,
it was a court case.
the court case, yeah. Um, yeah.
Eugene, you've been pretty clear. So, I'm sorry.
No,
Were
go
you-
ahead.
Were you
Yeah,
through?
Can I just read
Yeah,
this
go
real
ahead.
quick?
Yeah.
This is the number one reason that I took that out. It said this attorney that was writing on this about the Alabama case said the case speaks with one voice. Residential use under a subdivision declaration is not transformed to business use when an owner engages in short-term rentals, and that's the reason I put that in there. But I would also think that if we're doing $50 per rental, anyone that is investing in a short-term rental and is planning to make some money off of that $50 is a small amount to have the right to be able to do that. So I think that there's some. I wouldn't vote against the ordinance for it being in there. I'd prefer it to not be that way. I prefer it to be per owner. But I think getting rid of the conditional use is we've done that, and that was my number one goal.
Keeping it in there would also simplify the thing for bookkeeping in the city. That way they can keep up with all of it real easily.
Well, I think they could track it if we did a $50 upfront and then allowed for an issuance fee.
I'm fine with that.
Which that would be a compromise, I guess. And so,
due to the limitations of our computer systems.
Of course, we could. I mean, we're the council. We could waive the issuance fee. So,
whatever y'all want to do, we ought to figure it out.
that was my earlier point. We don't need to conflate the two issues. So I think we should decide: do we want it per owner or per unit? Per owner or per unit?
Per owner.
Per owner, yeah.
Per owner.
I'm good at this point. What I was really
So
adamant
you-
about, we're not doing.
You've
Let's go
changed
per
your-
owner with the issue.
You changed your
With the
mind.
insurance,
Okay.
yeah.
So yeah, and I agree. Per owner would be my preference. So it sounds like we've kind of got a right now. We've got the non-conditional option with. Bear with me here. With no specific vehicle limitations, only requiring parking to be off the street if off-street parking is available, limiting 2 guests per bedroom, not to include children under 19 years of age. No, ma'am.
No, ma'am.
You'll have Ms. Foy. You'll have opportunity in there's a public comment section. You can. I'm sorry. So only 2 guests per bedroom, not to include children under the age of 19, and then we're gonna do. Looks like we have consensus on a $50 fee per owner, not per unit. So if you have common ownership, whether that's an LLC or an individual, a couple, whatever, if it's common ownership, you would only have one license, and then they would be able to own as many properties as possible. Is that how everybody could get behind that? Scotty?
Mhm.
Okay.
Greg? Eugene?
One other thing that I did a little bit of research on that I did not change in my version of it, and it was interesting to look at. There's a company called Price Labs that you can sign up for a free account with for 30 days and do market research on Airbnb, VRBO, various things. And I looked at a sample of 66 properties that kind of was about a 20-mile radius. And I found it interesting that 48% of those properties have a limitation of 2 nights instead of 3 nights. Now, 23% have 1 night, and I think that we should get away from the 1 night personally, because that just lends itself to things that we are trying to get away from. 3 nights was 23%. So we are, just to be aware, over 50% of the current Airbnbs, or excuse me, short-term rentals. I was specifically looking at Airbnb listings, so that's why I'm saying Airbnb. Over 50% of those are going to be affected by the 3-night rule. I'm not saying we should change it, just throwing that out there for discussion.
What would your preference be if you were, if I told you 2 or 3?
I'd probably move towards the 2 simply because 48% of them already have a 2-night stay, but I don't know that. I'm not an
Sonia, what
owner,
do you think about
so.
2 or 3 nights?
It's just not a deal breaker for me. I mean, if he hadn't read that little piece of statistic, I would still stay 3. I mean, but
I can understand where 2 would be more profitable for the homeowners though. I don't have a problem with 2 nights.
I wouldn't have a problem with 2.
Scotty?
I don't either.
I think
my preference would, be 3, but it sounds like
we talked about
it sounds like 4 y'all want 2.
Because we were talking about specifically curbing the desire for parties.
Yeah.
That could kind of help curb that. So I guess I'm still gonna kind of stick with I'm fine with it 3.
I can go either way. I'm just giving you the statistics of what I picked out, and that.
Well, but obviously something has to be in the ordinance. Either nothing, or if we're going to set a limitation, it's going to be 2.
No, I think there needs to be a limitation.
Yeah, I do. So Sonia's saying 3.
I'm
Eugene's
fine with
saying,
it. If everybody, I really don't. It's not a deal breaker for me either way.
Eugene,
I vote for 2.
Scotty.
Now I'm talking between 2. I'm stay with my 3 originally because it was the reason we talked about that night.
Okay.
So I'm stay with 3.
If I have to pick one, I'm gonna say 2. But
All right, so Scotty and I are at 3, and then Sonia's at.
I go with the majority. I go with 3.
Oh, it's not a majority.
I'm just
you just
saying.
made the
So
majority.
you made
I
the
said 3 the last time, so I'll
All right,
stick
so we'll stick with 3, which is what you had originally said.
with it. Right. I'm not
So,
fine with that.
is there any other discussion on this? Any closing?
No, there's just some minor things in there that I'll talk with, excuse me, Beverly or somebody else about the 5-pound fire extinguisher. Doesn't say 1 or whatever, just clerical stuff. We'll fix that.
Yeah. So, Rainer, we've never done it this way. I kind of feel like we're creating a bicameral system here where we send a bill over to the planning commission. They're going to send us something back. There's not really a reconciliation process. I mean, how's this going to work?
It's my understanding, just through informed talk, that the planning commission appreciates doing this, vetting this out for them. And I would expect that unless there's some extraordinary event that occurs to change their way of thinking, that they're gonna look at it to make sure, which they should do, that it fits their scope of what they're supposed to do is, and then they'll report back to you as to a recommendation to adopt.
Okay.
Then we'll just treat it like a.
But when we act on that recommendation, we can't be tweaking changes at that point, right?
If we changed it, we'd have to take it back to the planning.
That's what I mean. So,
Which we've done before.
right. But that would delay it another 60 days. It would have to be advertised again. And so practically speaking, it's going to be a lot more efficient if we send them something that we're going to pass.
Correct.
Okay.
And just because I don't know, the reason this is going to the planning commission at this point is because it's affecting zoning,
Land use,
land
right?
use. Okay.
Zoning, land use, right, Rainer?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, okay, well, I went faster than I thought, but I think we've got consensus at least. Like I said, I mean, I didn't say it earlier. My preference would have been to go the conditional route, but 4 of y'all said not, so that's fine. But it sounds like we've got consensus on, and I don't think that's a fatal flaw. It just would have been my preference, but we will we'll move forward with this if everybody's, sounds like we've got something that everybody can live with it. Okay. All right, well, I've got 5 minutes until 6. Does anybody have anything they want to bring up in work session before our regular meeting? All right, if not, then we will stand adjourned and we will reconvene in about 5 minutes at 6 o'clock sharp for our regular meeting. Me too.
On this side, yep. Does it matter which side you hitting on?
Well, it would be.
Looks like you're hunting.
Yes, sir.
I think it'd be good if the pin was on this side.
Okay. So I'm making 10 minutes.
Good evening, sir.
I'm still here. All right.
I think it is. Trying to picture in my mind which one that is as you go down Dodge Street. Who's been calling you back? She's the owner or the one complaining? Okay. Well, now that you have your different title, who should I send these properties to? Yes, you do. I've seen all these. Are you still gonna be involved in that? Yeah. The police officer's not even working part-time now? Wow.
I'm doing as much as I can, you know, like I'm answering the voicemails, but it's a lot.
Yeah.
You know, you both know.
All right, could we get the meeting room called to order, please? I've got 6 o'clock, so I will call this City Council meeting, the Enterprise City Council, or let the record show that all members are present. If you could please stand with me for the opening prayer and pledge of allegiance. We have Pastor Danny Wiggins from County Line Baptist Church. Do we? Mr. Wiggins? All right. Well, I'll open the prayer. Dear Lord, thank you for this evening. Thank you for this gathering of the Enterprise City Council. Thank you for this community and the many blessings that you have brought us. Please be with us as we gather tonight and discuss and deliberate the important business of the city. In your name we pray. Amen. Please join me in pledge of allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. You may be seated. All right, Council, before you've got the agenda that we discussed at length and the prior work session, so I will entertain a motion to approve the agenda as submitted.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. We'll now consider the consent agenda. All matters listed within the consent agenda have been distributed to each member of the council for review, are considered to be routine, and will be enacted by one motion of the City Council with no separate discussion. If separate discussion is desired on an item, that item may be removed from the consent agenda and placed on the regular agenda by a request of a member of the City Council. I will now call for a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. I will now recognize Mayor Cooper and Police Chief Michael Moore so they can acknowledge the following Enterprise Police Department promotions.
Thank you, Council.
Yes, sir.
It's always nice to actually get to come and the best part of the job is whenever people get recognized for the hard work they do for the city of Enterprise and the citizens. So today I've got 5 promotions I'd like to bring to y'all's attention and the citizens of Enterprise's attention for their hard work. So the first one is Captain William Hagler. Captain William Billy Haglund, if you will. Promoted position of captain. He's over administration division, which is over training, public information, recruitment, retention, and as I used to say, or Chief Jones used to tell me, and anything else assigned by the chief of police. So Captain Haglund has always done an exceptional job. He's been doing this job just as exceptional. Recognize him for his promotion to captain. So, family, who would like to hand it off? Turn this way, face me, and then if you will.
Ouch. Good job.
Next will be Lieutenant Kyle Hale. So Lieutenant Hale was promoted at the same time Captain Haglund was. He's now been reassigned currently for his temporary duties as my special programs director. I get him in some assignments, and unfortunately for him, he did extremely well. So I kept him there, promoted him to lieutenant, phenomenal on the board and everything else. And I'm just happy that he get promoted to lieutenant. So your family. Captain Daryl. Oh, no, I thought that. I got replaced. I love you, baby. Congratulations. Thanks, sir. Sergeant Matthew Saxon. That's all right. Sergeant Saxon came from criminal investigations, did a phenomenal job in investigations. Now he's going back to the road as a patrol sergeant, which is a very, very important position in the city of Enterprise and in the police department, since he has the most impact on citizens, young police officers, older police officers, and everything else. He is the first line supervisor, has a lot of responsibility to take care of the city. So, and I know he can handle it. So, you your sergeant. Family. Sergeant Meyer Hoodie Waller. So again, Sergeant Hoodie Waller came from patrol. He's promoted to the position of sergeant, which again is the first line supervisor. This is a step into management, leadership, and direction. And I know that he can do a phenomenal job, and I look forward forward to his time as a sergeant. Congratulations, and your family. Put it on there.
Yeah.
You want you to do it? Okay. How about okay. Okay. Here, and then we'll just switch it.
There you go.
Yeah.
All right, look at Miss Kate. She can get a photo. Communications Officer Supervisor Marissa Strickland. So there's no badge to pin, but that doesn't mean she's not near as important as anybody else. She is the overall supervisor for communications, 911 dispatch. Her responsibilities is overseeing and making sure that the calls that come in get properly dispatched, manpower is directed, and everything else. She has a very important job with the police department. I know she's fully capable of doing it, and I look forward to her time. So thank you very much. You want to get your family up here to recognize them as well. Okay. Come on up.
You're out cute in there.
I got to understand.
So, just the officers. Newly promoted. Yes. Thank you.
Chief and the officers that just got promoted on behalf of the mayor and the city council. This gives us great pride in knowing that we have those type of people that want to continue to serve and are doing a well-done job for the city. I would place our police department second to none around anywhere. And again, I would like to congratulate you on what you're doing. And Chief, you're doing a wonderful job. Continue what you're doing. You know that the backing of the city council and the mayor and this city is proud because of the fact that some of the problems that have gone on in other cities, we have not had to face it. So again, continue what you're doing. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Chief. Thank you, officers, for all your hard work, and then certainly thank you to the families that were represented here tonight. I know a lot of prayers and hard work on their end go into this too. So thank you to everybody involved. All right, now is the time of the meeting for privilege of the floor. So this is the time that anybody here tonight that wishes. Well, let's let the room clear, and then we'll pick back up.
Sure.
let everybody get out of the
Sure, no
room. So.
worries.
Yeah, I wish it.
All right, so like I said, this is the time of the meeting for privilege of the floor. Anybody that is in the room that wishes to address the council has 3 minutes to do so. Ms. Foy, I assume you're here to address the council. So my apologies earlier, but the work session is for the council talk, and this is the public response time, and then we'll have some time at the end for individual comments. So yeah, just make sure you
Robin
state your
Foy,
name. Yeah.
exercise privilege of the floor. And I know that Rayner knows a lot more about law than I do, but I just wanted to caution the council about being very careful about the 2 per bedroom rule and how that's written because of fair housing. You do not want to run afoul of federal fair housing laws. And there's a big difference between a 3,000 square foot house with 3 bedrooms and 3 bathrooms and a 1,200 square foot house with 3 bedrooms and 1 bathroom. And what the ordinance needs to say, if you're going to address that, it needs to be something about safety and health reasons and the owner of the property complying and the owner of the property being responsible if what they have listed. So if they say that a 3 bedroom, 3 bath, 3,500 square foot house sleeps 8 on their Airbnb listing, then if they're more than that, then the owner just needs to be held responsible for monitoring their Airbnb. But it would be important to not run afoul of those federal. I know at the real estate office, we cannot ask people where they're going to sleep when we rent them a house. They can rent a 3 bedroom house and 6 people can all sleep in 1 bedroom if they want to. So just anyway, that's all. Just a caution about that one item.
Okay, thank you. Is there anybody else here to address the council? Yes, ma'am.
So my house is what started this all, Christy Long. Man, all the regulations and rules, how are you guys going to implement this, right? So I was reading through all of our ordinances, and our lodging rule actually already pretty much sums everything up. It says there is hereby levied and imposed in addition to all other taxes of every kind now imposed by the law a privilege or license tax upon every person engaging in the business of renting or furnishing any rooms, lodgings, or accommodations to transients in any hotel, motel, inn, tourist camp, tourist cabin, or any other place in which rooms, lodgings, or accommodations are regularly furnished to transients for consideration in the amount of 6% of the charge for such rooms, lodgings, accommodations, including the charge for use of rental or personal property and services furnished in such rooms. Let's talk about that. So boarding house for parking is 1 space per resident plus 1 space. So if I said I had 8 guests, guess what? A boarding house here in Enterprise is 1 space per resident and then 1 space extra after that. So listen, we can sit here and go back and forth with laws all day long, but at the end of the day, Airbnb says 16 people maximum ever, period. Did my post go against Airbnb's rules? Yes. Did I miss that rule? Yes. Every new business, every new thing that we do is a learning process, right? But there are so many rules and regulations in place already. I don't understand putting more regulations on people, more taxes. Listen, business license here for a TDY is if you have 3 properties or if you're making $20,000 or more in revenue every year. Why don't we just leave it alone? We're already not enforcing these regulations, obviously. It just doesn't make sense to me why this is being tossed back and forth. At what point, so from my understanding, America is all about capitalism, right? We came from a capitalism point of view, but it's feeling a lot like fascism right now. And I'm not trying to throw those words out lightly. I'm serious. The perception of the community is not good right now. If someone from a lower income community came up here and was complaining about something like this, I'm not sure that there would be a second guess as to, okay, well, figure it out. There's rules already in place for that. I've had the police called on my tenants for no reason. You know why? Because they were black. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm not pulling that card lightly. Literally, I've had multiple guests in there, and I've only had cops called for no reason, literally, on people of color in that community. So what does this look like to me as someone in this community who wants to be an investor? I will not invest another penny into this place. Seriously. And that's what it looks like for so many other investors right now. It really does. This back and forth, it looks like so much politics. It's insane. That's all I have left to say to this community, because I have literally been harassed. I had a nurse and I had a firefighter who rented for an entire month, right? Literally, I had my next door neighbor literally was in there in my driveway harassing her kids and taking pictures of her kids' license plates and stuff. Guess how many kids they had? 4. Guess how many vehicles they had? They were all teenagers. There was 2 for the adults and 3 for all their teenage kids. That's 5 vehicles. So what? I can't have a family with teenagers rent my house? Where are they going to stay? Where are they going to stay? Where are we drawing the line with this? This is emotional for me because I myself am a transient. I don't stay anywhere more than 3 years. My family's Army. My husband has dedicated 9 years in the Army Rangers and 4 in regular Army. We're always moving. We've stayed in Airbnbs everywhere trying to find homes to live in, to purchase, to invest in these communities. What is this? What is this? That's what the perception is in this community. I just want you to know. I've talked to many, many people. I'm sure you guys have too, and I'm sure they include the country club. But what I'm telling you right now is the other people in this area are not looking at this lightly. This is a serious problem. This is America. This is America. I'm done.
Thank you,
I
Ms.
gotta
Long.
go to church.
Is there anybody else here to address the council?
I'm up here again, Mr. Townsend, council, about my favorite street in the city. Do we not have a code enforcement officer in this town? Do we not have a sanitation code in this town? Apparently nobody's willing to go on Apache Drive and enforce the owners of those apartment complexes to clean their trash up. It is overwhelming there. And that's from the hotel that's on the intersection there of the little side road all the way to the other end of Apache Drive. The trash is just, can't believe we have, I don't know of any other apartment complexes in the city that look like this. And I've driven around just to check. For some reason, there's like a no enforcement zone or a no code zone on Apache Drive. I'd just like to know if y'all can maybe get something done. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Bench. I'll look into that specific issue and get back with you this week. Yep. Is there anybody else here from the public that wants privilege of the floor? We'll have staff reports in a second. Just make sure we have no more privilege of the floor. All right. Well, we'll have staff reports now. Ms. Tammy.
Council and everybody that is viewing tonight, I just have something lighthearted and fun to share with you. Our downtown enterprise, of course, we are nominated for an American Main Street contest. We made it to the top 25, and we count on everybody voting and voting daily online on our downtown Facebook page. Now, you can vote until this Sunday at midnight. This Sunday at midnight is when they'll tally the votes and pick the top 10. So we are really asking you guys to continue to share this on your social media. You'll find the link on our Downtown Enterprise Facebook page. You can vote daily. You can vote 25 times. You can send it to your family. We just really want to put that out there. We're very excited about what we do here in the city and what we're doing downtown, and we want to ask for the public's help. And to encourage everybody, we do have a little contest. So if you would like to win $100 of Main Street dollars, just by helping your downtown be better and hopefully also helping us to get to the top 10, we ask you to go to the Downtown Enterprise Facebook page and to vote for Enterprise. It's simple, and hopefully we'll make the top 10, and I'll be able to report back from that.
Thank you, Tammy.
Yes.
Thank you for your work on that. Any other staff reports? Chief Davis.
I just wanted to give a quick update on the partnership that we had with John's Chapel. We were able to provide 125 smoke detectors. And that might not sound huge, but that represents 57 households and 129 of our citizens. So we were very proud of that. I'd like to thank them as well as Pastor White. And I just wanted everybody to be aware of it.
All right. Thank you, Chief. It's good news.
I know I am going to take somebody's thunder, but I want to let you all know, I know baby steps. There's legal ramifications. I understand your concern with Apache. We have been down Apache. We've been down Apache, and we're dealing with the attorneys, the legal realm, and everything else. Bear with us. It takes time to get all that stuff done. And this is my second go around with Apache Drive, dealing with it and trying to get it cleaned up. So there will be movement. I don't know when legally, right? So, however, I do want to point out this, from the council supporting us to the mayor helping us, working with us, and directing us. I've been here for 20-something years, and I have never had more enjoyable Christmas parade ever. It's from the council allowing that city ordinance to happen to, again, I know I'm going to take Barry's thunder, to Shannon Roberts every time I call him and say, hey, this is what I need. Can you make it happen? It's happened. And I really appreciate it, and I see it from the outside of how well the city's going. And well, again, bear with us, baby steps to everything, but this city is doing phenomenal. The Christmas parade, I know we got a lot of naysayers, but afterwards we had everybody saying what a great time it was. What hit home for me was whenever the next morning I was speaking to my staff, and the patrol captain said, hey, Chief, guess how many cars we directed out of there? I said, how many? He said, not a one. Everybody mully-entered back to their car, took some time downtown, got to the vehicles, and left. There was no officers in the middle of directing traffic for 30, 45 minutes. Everybody just departed. The Whoville, phenomenal. Everything else seems to be going really well, and I appreciate it, and I just want to bring that up. And it wasn't just us, obviously. It's your staff. We're doing really good, and I really appreciate the opportunity. So that's all I have to say.
Thank you, Chief Moore. Barry?
Mr. President, I don't think it'd be a council meeting if I come here and give you some update on some project, right?
Come on.
So tonight I'm gonna do something a little different. As you know, we the first project that you tasked me with when I came here was to get that parking lot open, make sure we had it open for the Christmas parade, and a lot of things could happen. But I'd like to ask Shannon if you and Greg Adams would come up. We the parking lot, while it may not seem like a big deal when it comes to, it's not a large project, it was for us and it was for staff, because it was a project that as a team we put together an approach that you gave us a budget and a time frame, and we met the time frame, and we were well under budget. We asked that parking lot was $150,000 or less, and we added the lights to it. We almost made the 150 with the lights on it. We hit 158 was the final cost on the parking lot project, which is about $30,000 under budget. So I'm very proud about that. But the thing that I wanted to come up here today and ask these guys, there was many people that made this happen, but Shannon, if you let me hold this. Oh, cool. This is an aerial photo of the parking lot project, and we asked everybody that worked on the project, from processing the purchase order to being there working on it. There's 40 actual signatures on the poster this here, and Greg Adams, he's over our street department. He headed up all the down boots on the ground work on the project, and of course, Shannon takes no introduction. You know who Shannon is. Shannon helped the team lead everything together, and then we just wanted to come here tonight on some good news and present this to you, Mayor, and the council on a successful project, what it looks like, what it means to the community, and we're very proud of it. And we just wanted to officially give this to you to say the first project that we've got. We got many more to come, but a closeout of a great project, and we just want to give this to y'all.
Thank you.
Mr. President, may I say something?
Go ahead, Sonny.
That's a real kind gesture, Barry. This is not something that's a voting matter or anything, but I think that's so awesome, and that 40 staff members signed that. How special would that be to put it in Public Works so that when they walk by and see that, it just really shows the appreciation for the staff that it's not anything we did, it's what y'all did. And it's because we asked something to do and they did it. And now not one of us drove by those parking lots and saw those 40 signatures, those people out there working, and they got it done. They saved us a lot of money. It caused our events from last week, this weekend, to go just spectacular. I think that'd just be awesome if you just kind of put that somewhere where your staff can see that and see, what they did, how much it meant to the city.
With your permission, I'll take it and hang it in Public Works, because most of the signatures on here are Public Works guys and girls that worked on this.
That'd be great.
And we'll hang it in our foyer or in one of our public areas this was a team building exercise for us as much as it was to accomplish something for the community. And we're very proud of it. And we celebrate the successes as much as we tackle the problems. And this was a success, and I thought it was good for us to take a minute as a team. And I want to thank Greg and Shannon, and there's a whole bunch of people behind. But I asked them to come tonight and be here with me to present this to y'all.
On the ribbon cutting coming up,
yes, sir.
Well, those 40 people, we need them there.
We will have them there.
Everybody, that'd be a great picture.
Awesome.
Sounds good.
Thank you.
Mayor, you want to take it?
Thank you.
Thank you.
No, we'll say this week. We have a second parking lot coming online, hopefully in the next couple of weeks, across from Annie's. That we're about 50% complete with that parking lot. We have a little bit more to do, and we'll stripe it. That'll add another 45 parking places, 5 handicap within that 45, so 5 plus 40. So we'll be adding more parking right there on Main Street as well, and I'm trying to get that wrapped up here in the next couple of weeks. So there's more to come.
Yeah. Awesome.
Thank you.
Any other staff reports? All right. Well, council, as you know, y'all will have time for your comments at the end of the meeting. So we'll move on to old business. We have a public hearing and consideration of ordinance 110221. This is the Snyder rezone. I now call for a public hearing prior to consideration of ordinance 110221, providing for the rezone of 1.143 acres of land owned by James Snyder from R85 Residential District to B3 Highway Commercial District, located at 102 Coppinville Road. I will now call this hearing open. Is there anyone here to speak for or against this rezone? Seeing no one, I will now close the hearing and call for a motion to consider ordinance 110221.
So moved.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. All right, we'll now introduce and call for consideration of recommendation from Billy Powell, Parks and Recreation Director, to award bid requisition number 2021-12 for Civic Center AV equipment to Harris Security in the amount of $119,726.57. No other bids were received. Council, we discussed this in the work session prior, so I'll entertain a motion to adopt this recommendation.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. I'll now introduce ordinance, move on to new business. I'll introduce ordinance 120721, providing for an amendment to ordinance 081721-C, relating to the implementation of a new business license code. The amendment calls for the reclassification of NACE codes 114119, 115114, 212319, and 561790 to Schedule E in Section 31 of the Business License Code. All remaining provisions of Ordinance 081721-C remain unchanged and in full force and effect. So council, just like we discussed in the prior business meeting, for the benefit of you in the room that weren't here, relax, we're not adopting a new business license code. This is simply correcting some basically typos and realigning these 4 codes into the right schedule. There were some mistakes made. So we agreed beforehand to suspend the rules so we could adopt this immediately. So I'll entertain a motion to suspend the rules so that we can have immediate consideration.
So moved.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second to suspend the rules. Is there any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries and the rules are suspended. I will now entertain a motion to adopt ordinance 120721, which amends the business license code.
So moved.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second to adopt ordinance 120721. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. I'll now call for a motion to authorize the mayor to execute a memorandum of agreement between the City of Enterprise and Pike Regional Child Advocacy and Family Resource Center for a term of 1 year beginning October 1st, 2021 and ending September 30th, 2022. The agreement will automatically renew for successive 1-year terms unless terminated by either or both parties. I'll entertain a motion to adopt this, or to authorize the mayor to execute this agreement.
So moved.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. I'll now introduce and call for consideration of a request from Billy Powell, Parks and Recreation Director, to allow Comfort Systems USA to replace 2.5-ton HVAC package unit at Enterprise Public Library at a cost of $6,988. The current system is inoperable and unable to be repaired. This is an unfunded item in the fiscal year 2022 budget. I'll entertain a motion to grant this request to replace the HVAC unit.
So moved.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Mayor, you have a report for us?
Thank you, Mr. President. I would also like to ditto what has been said about our department heads and the workers that put together this magnificent project here, and all the city workers that are working every day trying to make sure that our city is moving at the pace that it should. I think we have some dedicated people, and it seems like we are now more united in trying to make sure that projects are being carried out. I'm proud of our people, and I know that our citizens, that we might get different situations that are not taken care of here and there, but we try to make sure that once a complaint is brought before us, that we try to see if, what needs to be done in order to improve. So again, we want the public to kind of bear with us and give us a chance when there's a problem in the community or whatever. And as we look around, as I always say, that what goes on in Enterprise doesn't go on anywhere else because of the fact that the community working together as one. The Christmas parade, tree lights ceremony, the farmers market, that person walk around them, the city, the mayor, Moodville, whatever. And whatever went on, everything worked. Attendance to all the programs was well attended. And so we had a lady here from another city saying that one of our nearest cities said they don't have what we have. They just have a little tree light ceremony. That's what they're doing. So see, this is Enterprise, city of progress. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Ms. Rich?
Of course, thank everyone for coming tonight and those that addressed us during the privilege of the floor. Appreciate your concerns. Mr. Benchley is exactly correct. It's a major problem in that area with the trash, and like the mayor and chief said, we are working diligently for some type of something to help in that area. So be patient with us on that. Congratulations to all of our officers and our police staff that got promotions. I think that's real awesome. I always like to see the kids be able to see their parents be rewarded. It was real nice. So I've heard excellent things about the non-parking during the 4:30 to 9 for the parade. And I don't know about them, but, you know, we're the boring part of the parade. It's not much going on. Nobody really cares to see us for real. But you got a really chance to see, like, I knew something was different about the parade. And it didn't hit me for a while. I was, oh, it's the non. It really made a difference. So it was just impressive to see, and I've heard great things about it. So we had an awesome week this week in the city during, you know, to kick off the holidays. So y'all continue to enjoy the holiday season, and that's all I got.
Mr. Guzman?
Well, as our police chief already commented on the Christmas parade, it really went over well. And if you rode down the parade in the vehicle as we did, with no vehicles on the side, it seemed like it was wall-to-wall people. So, and if you weren't down in Whoville Saturday to see Mayor Cooper, to be president, the mayor of Whoville, need to thank all of our chamber members, our staff, the Main Street group, the downtown merchants. Whoville was a huge success. Thank y'all for coming.
Mr. Padgett?
As others have said, congratulations to the ones in the police department that received promotions. I think they're doing a great job here in the city. Also, to the staff of the City of Enterprise, we're throwing an awful lot at you, and you are getting it done, and I appreciate that. I'd like to make a very special mention. Black Friday, day after Thanksgiving, the city was closed, and the streets were packed on Main Street. I had several business owners come by me and ask if there's anybody in the city that could help with a trash problem that was being created. And I made a call to Jonathan Tullis and asked if there was anything that could be done. And I understand it wasn't very long before Shannon was down there helping empty trash cans on his day off. And so I want to say a special thank you to those that jumped into action to get that to happen, because there was a lot of people on Main Street on Black Friday. As everyone else has said, I think it was great seeing the cars off the street for the parade. You were able to see the people as you came through there, and it was a lot easier to pick people out. People waving, calling your name. You weren't trying to look around cars, trying to figure out who was there. It was really a much better experience for those of us going through the parade, and then when I came back around and joined the crowd, it was a much better viewing experience as well. Whoville was great. I got to get my picture made with Mayor of Whoville and his get up there. It was very well attended, and thanks to all of those in the city that had a part in making that happen, because that is no small feat to make that entire operation go. And in closing, I'd just like to encourage everyone this holiday season to shop local. We have lots of great local places that can provide many things that you may not even realize. Last year, my family and I took Small Business Saturday and went to as many locally owned stores between Main Street, Westgate, various places where there are locally owned stores in town, and did every bit of our Christmas shopping locally. We ordered nothing online and bought nothing out of town. And it was kind of amazing how that the responses from those people that we gave those gifts to, they're still talking about those gifts, because they were different than just running through the big box store or online just grabbing something. But there were some neat things to be found in the City of Enterprise that you were able to give a little more thought to. So I really encourage everyone to do as much of your holiday shopping this year as you possibly can with our locally owned businesses. Thank all of you for coming.
Mr. Johnson?
I've got to say, the comments I've heard, that's why I truly love the city and the folks in the city. And that's why I'm proud and honored to be sitting up here working for you all out there. Department heads, I mean, the last couple of weeks have been crazy. I'm on the parade committee, and I tell you, everything we needed or got down there, I usually get down to parade morning about 7:30, don't leave until the end, and everything just came in. Trash containers, lights, fire department, parks and recs, everybody was there. Just ran wonderfully. And we're lucky enough, the last float, the Enterprise float, comes back again, and they allow the parade committee to jump on. And so we're always on there. And I, too, noticed how wide that street is now, and where you could see everybody. It was just phenomenal for that parade down there. And then as I was going down, of course, I was looking at parking lots, too, leaning off, looking at the one behind Yancey Parker going, oh, yeah, okay, it's filled, And the one coming across Vanny's, that was packed that night, too. It was great to see that. I got to walk it with Barry a couple times, and I'll tell you, your folks outstanding out there. I thought they were going to give me a shovel or something one day. But thank you so very much to all our city workers. That's why we're City of Progress and why people love the city. Congratulations to all our officers and to Ms. Strickland for the promotion this evening. We always love to fill this place with their families. And thank you for those folks that came up and spoke. It's great to take part in your civic duties and being up here. I tell folks, look, bring me an issue, bring me a problem or whatever, but what's your solution? It's not about me or anybody else. How can we fix it? And I don't care if you're my district or not, call me. We'll help each other out here. So that's why we're here, is because of the folks here. And I also like to recognize the folks that are online. There are a lot of folks online that watch this. And please come down here once in a while and take part. But we always love to fill this room. And again, God bless everybody. And thank you so very much for being part of this city. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, everybody, for your comments tonight. Greg, thank you for bringing up the shop local. Yeah. We definitely need to always remember that. Like I said, there's some great local shops, and it makes me feel good to see a thriving downtown, and certainly, I think what Barry presented tonight, shows that those partnerships, really do move the needle on downtown, and we've got a few more properties that we got a ways to go still, but man, the progress we've made in the last few years. So I appreciate everybody's hard work on that. Ms. Foy, thank you for bringing up the concerns. I'm sure we'll make sure that we look into any of those issues as we finalize this draft. And Mr. Bench, thank you for staying on us. I assure you it continues to be a topic of conversation, and I think everybody up here shares your frustration with that. I would like to clear up a few mischaracterizations tonight. No new taxes were passed in the meeting tonight. I think that while I don't think any of us necessarily would have drafted up what we have an agreement in principle on these short-term rentals. If we'd have done it individually, I don't think any of us would have come up with what we're going to wind up getting. But that's part of a deliberative process where you've got to attempt to reach consensus, or at least majority. So I think that once people have an opportunity to review it, we'll agree that it is not fascist. As a matter of fact, it's probably not a fascist document, and if anything, it will give property owners some assurances of what their property rights are, and it also gives some safeguards on the other side that if they're abusing those property rights. So I'm confident in our process. I'm sorry if it appears that we've made a mountain out of a molehill, but it's a fact that we had holes in our existing ordinances that needed to be addressed, and that's what we're here for. That's literally our job, is to address those policy issues as economies change, as new products come on the market, and as it appears there's some inequities in the system. So I'm confident in our process. I know some people aren't going to like it. Some people will like it, but I am proud of the process that we use to accomplish that. And obviously we're not there yet, but I think we've about 98% of the way there. So that is all I've got. I appreciate everybody coming. We are adjourned.